对于英雄联盟的观众来说，夏天总是开始的非常准时。不管你是老玩家还是新入坑，我都可以告诉你，这个夏天注定不会平凡。
FLICKR 的作战状态还很不错，弗兰躲在旁边疯狂走位，中单收到一个4杀，我要5杀，给我5杀。
跳上来了，克斯锤了以后，枪形态3连炮打到这一滴血，闪现点一下就拿下了 POS 人头。
对于那些有冲劲的年轻人，还有重获新生的队伍来说，这是一个扶摇直上的机会。也许概率和积分不站在他们这边，但却有着鲜活的奇迹可以供他们参考。
闪越过去没有看到，雷克萨这里是没有听到奥拉夫的。哎呦，他2级应该是没有 E 的，闪现一勾，这个雷克萨勾的好厉害啊！杰杰刚才好赶啊！
这边抢了一个2，一个 QQ 到，这波有红 buff， 给了一个黑盾之后，这一波打出印记最后一下，滴血。
而对于那些强者和传统豪门来说，我想大可不必过于担心，他们一定早就做好了放手一搏的准备。1年1次的盛会，没有人愿意缺席。
Yet to come. Like summer nights, I'm gonna dance, tell you my name, and I'm free. You should do the same. Talk about my day.
The e-commerce wars are here for the summer split. Suning versus JDG. It's about to begin. We are here in the Beijing arena, JDG's home arena, and we're going to hear a bunch of chants. We're going to see a bunch of fans coming into it. My question is if we're going to see DX Master again, because he was the highlight the last time we were together, Clement. So the potential to see him is great, but the potential for upset is greater right now. I am Matt Niberia Clendano, joined here by the lovely Clement Chu, and unfortunately we don't get to see DX Master, but we do get to see the e-commerce wars. So let's talk about that a little bit. I'll give everyone the history. Jingdong and Suning are both massive commerce ventures here in China, and they've been competing for, this is going to be, I believe, the 8th split.
Yeah.
Now, last split, JD won the tie. They were tied up in spring split. JDG took them down 2-1, so this time, Suning can fight back, and honestly, Suning are in prime form to do it, Clement.
It's always really exciting for when you have an e-commerce wars because they have a lot of discounts. And other than that, we want to talk about the rise of Suning. We have 5 teams that have not dropped a series yet in the LPL, and one of them just happens to be Suning. I think the most important thing for this team is that they are playing far more cohesive than their previous splits. We had Maple in the post-game interview talk about the impact of their new coach, the old Flash Wolves coach Fluid Winds, coming onto the team and realigning their entire roster. Weiwei has also been playing for the past 4 games. He has been starting over Hacker, and what an impact has he been able to get. I think his early jungle pathing is far superior to what we've seen previously from Suning. He's getting Maple ahead, and he's also willing to go in and fight. He's always the one leading the charge on that team. So despite what Suning was last split, this Suning is, I think, completely different. Despite the talent downgrade from losing Longxing in the top lane, I think this Suning team has came out of the fire even more focused.
Well, because losing Longxing was such a massive loss for them, theoretically, on paper.
Yes.
So far, it doesn't seem to have been affected all that much, and the reason for that, I feel, is that when you downgrade from someone who is able to single-handedly save games, we remember the Urgot kill that completely turned a fight, got a quadra, just knocked everyone out of the base. When you no longer have that reliability, you suddenly have to focus down on your identity. You really have to knuckle down and decide, what is it we want to do? And for Suning, they seem to have focused in on their bottom lane, on SMLZ and on SwordArt.
Yep, SMLZ has been carrying this team in terms of damage, over 30%, stepping into that hyper carry role. And in the meantime, we've also seen some very interesting trends coming out from SwordArt. He used to be known as this roaming type of support. His best champions were like the Thresh, the Alistar, but this split, he's been honing down his identity on the Tahm Kench. It's a champion that we thought we didn't see much after 9.9. You're grounded now when you're Devour. But when you're playing with Smlz, it's still necessary to have that get-out-of-jail-free card. And they've been doing it quite well. A lot of the combinations they've been running has been the Sona Taric. Sona in the bot lane globally, still over 65% win rate. So it's a very strong champion. And they've been banking on this combination to scale later into the game and for Smlz to carry them.
And I think we can look at other parts of the map as well and find some consistency there, because we were talking about this a little bit before the broadcast, but Maple has been rocking a very consistent identity for all of Suning's series so far. He has played 2 champions. And what are they, Clement?
Silas and Nico. That's it. That's all he plays. So we talked about realigning identity. I think that's a big part of it. We've recently been seeing Maple and Weiwei play the kill lane. Rek'Sai and Silas is their most played in terms of their champion combinations, and it's been working really well for them. I really doubt that Silas is going to be given to him again. I think Silas will be the champion of this series between JD Gaming, Yagao, and Maple.
And let's talk a little bit about JD Gaming now, because they are, of course, coming into this without a single win, which feels really bad. But if you look at the opponents they've been up against and how well they've been doing, it paints a clearer picture of how JDG might be performing.
Yes, all of their losses have been against teams that are flawless currently. So you're thinking about LNG, you're thinking about FPX. Now EDG did drop the series to IG yesterday, so that's no longer technically true. Excuse us for about that one. But their opponents have been the cream of the crop. They've been on the top of the ladder, and this is the real fight where JD Gaming can assert, hey, are we still middle of the pack, or are we just yesterday's news? Because they have not been looking good whatsoever. A big problem for me, Flawless has had an extremely rough split in terms of jungling, but when they play Kanavi, things have not improved. Kanavi, of course, a Korean import coming over from the team Griffin, but unfortunately still doesn't have the language skills to gel with the team. They had him on one game, and they were like, nope, this isn't working. Get Flawless back in here.
Get us out, get us out.
Yep, so they've walked themselves into a situation where you can't really walk out of, and I'll give my personal opinion on Flawless. A great way to heat check him is just think about the last time he played Lee Sin. This guy came into the league as quote-unquote the best mechanical Lee Sin player. He has not played Lee Sin this entire split, probably not feeling that confident currently, and the way it's impacted the team is that JD Gaming has not been able to do a lot of successful roams. This is a team that likes to come out of the laning phase, have all of their pieces moving, create a chaotic, hectic situation where they're able to snipe kills off on the left and right because they're better mechanical players, but that's not been happening for JD Gaming. They've been coming out of the gate extremely slow, and most impacted has been their top lane. Zoom has had CS deficit after CS deficit. He hasn't really had someone backing them up. So that's what we want to see out of JD Gaming. Can they still bring that early game passion, that early game fire back onto the Rift, or are they going to just stabilize around what they've been doing in the previous 3 sets, which has not been looking good?
Well, I don't think they're going to have to, because one of the things that's been missing in their previous sets so far is, of course, their support, Lumao, who is just absolutely incredible and is the shot caller for the team. He's really the leader in spirit and in gameplay, because he goes for those roams. He makes these plays for the team. We remember his fiddlesticks especially impactful because of how the team is able to play around it. So I think having him back on the roster, he will be playing today, is a massive improvement from them over running team.
Yeah, definitely is the case. The captain of the team, the longest standing player that they still have on the roster. If he's not there, JD Gaming feel like there's something wrong. But once this guy comes in, JD Gaming seem amazing.
I love DX Master so much.
I think he was doing a Gragas impression. Our home stadium is welcoming the 3rd challenger, Suning. Now I'm not going to waste my breath. Let's all welcome Suning. I love this guy. Yeah, not sure I recognize the last guy.
But he got him down.
He got 4 out of 5. That's good enough.
Yeah, he introed him for us. Biubiu, Weiwei, Smlz, SwordArt, and Maple, of course. Suning roster. Very consistent, like we said, since the beginning of the split. But now, give it back to him to intro JDG, the hometown heroes.
让我们用同样热烈的掌声
有请主场战队激动 Gimp！ Flawless! Yagao! Gimp! Limo! And Holly!
It was fluid wins. That was what he was saying last time.
Okay. Sorry. My bad. I should not have doubted you, DX Master. You are a god.
He is truly. Take JDG's jungler out of the roster because DX Master is truly flawless.
过2天你买单，而今天电商大战一触即发。
Just mentioning JD Gaming's furniture sale. It's all the way till 18th.
Oh, maybe I could pick up a futon.
Yeah. You should
Can I get
spend the time
DX
wisely.
Master? Can I get DX Master to sign it? Can I just like fly to Beijing and be like, hey, can I get your autograph for
I
my
don't think you need
furniture?
to fly to Beijing for that. You
Okay.
could just ask the team nicely. I'm sure they'll comply for the LPL English broadcast.
We can only hope. I hope one day to display his signature above my mantle framed. But of course, we are going to have the e-commerce war. Like you said, there's a lot of sales on both companies. Looking forward to this game, which is just such a lovely way to celebrate it. You know, it's like, yeah, we're competing for business.
That's exactly true right here. And I love how the first shots were towards the jungles. You have Weiwei and Flawless. They are really going to decide the tempo of this game. I think both of these teams have been quite dependent on that early game tempo leads that they get from their junglers. So far, Flawless has been a bit questionable, but Weiwei has been finding a lot of synergy with Maple. And here are the main carries. Smlz playing a lot of Sona, sticking to Kai'Sa. One of the fewer AD carries that are still sticking around with the Kai'Sa. And he's currently standing at 398 games, so if this series goes to 3, he will overtake Mystic.
Okay. There's the potential there for him to hit that 400 at the end of the day.
He will hit 400 no matter what. I don't think they have a substitute for AD carry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they have Bobby, don't they?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, they do have Bobby.
They're not going to play him.
That's a bit harsh, but okay.
No, let's be frank. Let's be frank. SMLZ has been performing out of his mind this split.
Yeah.
This is not the same SMLZ we saw from last split where Suning management decided maybe they can suffice without him. He has been performing so much more consistently and been outputting much more damage and been playing around the team much better.
And I'm actually really surprised that Uzi actually claims the top spot on that list. If you think about his career, I would think that Clearlove has probably played more series. Maybe he's just 2-0'd more.
Uzi, always for a hard-fought challenge there. Also in Beijing,
Yeah.
but not this arena.
Yeah, because Uzi typically does sit out large portions of spring.
Sure.
So always surprised to see that he still claimed the #1 spot. Of course, recently they had better playoff performances, but Clearlove, he's still he's the oldest in LPL, and he's still 0-0-1. I thought he would be the one that would claim that spot.
Fortunately, not for him. He may just be too good for it.
Yep. That's
Too
always
many,
the problem.
Too many 2-0s. Let's not talk about the possibility of 0-2s, but you know what? I think for this one, Suning have a lot to prove, especially after last split, because they started off, I've been harping on this point all day, but because I'm still shocked by it. They started in second place, and then they just took a free fall.
Oh, they won
into the
2 out of
10th place
11 after that.
Yes.
They were objectively the worst LPL team after the Chinese New Year split, and I'm glad to see that they're finally back in form. Now, we did predict this. Me and Raz both said that with Longxing leaving the roster, we actually felt it would improve their win rate, because at the very least, they would understand where to play towards. And it did take a lot of changes from the organization. Suning after spring split, they cut their manager, they cut their coaching staff, and now it's a completely new backstage that's propping up this team. And I think it was necessary. Now, this is a team that was given the nickname the Galactic Armada, because they were taking the best of the best from all over the universe and putting them on the same team. And the first thing they did was they ran into an asteroid field and just crashed and burned.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't a great split there for Suning. But like you said, I think having Fluid win here, having new coaching staff is going to be absolutely massive for them, because you can see a lot of changes with the team. Of course, SwordArt, okay, I was going to say for once was not smiling, but eventually at the end of it, you can see a little bit of a cheeky smile coming out from him. Probably the most positive player, I think, in the LPL. Just ratio of smiling to not smiling.
I'm trying to think of a counter. There has to be someone that smiles
can't.
more. I feel like Doinby smiles more, no?
You know, that's a good question.
Like, if
Do we have
SwordArt
stats on
sees
this?
like what SMLZ is picking, like typically his face goes. I remember that game where SMLZ locked the, he was flashing the Kog'Maw for like 10 seconds, and then he insta-locked the Jhin, and SwordArt's face was like. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that.
Okay,
actually.
he's
Yeah.
definitely top 2. I think we can agree.
Yeah, for sure. But SMLZ, of course, the one to never smile. That he claims the top spot. I don't think anyone's going to take that away from him.
No one is as consistently good as not showing positive emotion, but sometimes you see him smile, and it's all the more magical for it. But like we were saying, I think Suning this facelift is really doing them good. And I don't know which is the more important factor. Is it the loss of Longxing, or is it the addition of new coaching staff? Because I feel like the coaching staff would definitely be the bigger positive.
It definitely would help there. Now, objectively, losing Longxing should not make your team better under any circumstances.
Very correct.
Longxing, for me, he's probably top 2 in terms of Chinese top laners, but he's a very he's a player that's set in his ways. He's a 4-1 split pushing type of player. He's not going to have a lot of participation in the kills earlier on, and that's a problem with Suning. If you don't have 2 players around SMLZ, he will consistently die all the time. So I don't even blame Longxing that much for the way the team crashed and burned in the previous splits, but it's easier now. It's definitely easier for them now. And like we were talking about, first thing that JD Gaming takes away is that Sona pick. Sona Tahm Kench has been Suning's bread and butter, so they're going to have to bring something out new, something new here. I don't think the Kaisa comps have been working out quite well. Very low win percentage on that champion.
Interesting for me to see that Suning are banning away the Karma as well, because I don't feel like that's major priority here as a first ban. But Nico being banned away by JD Gaming, now it makes a little bit more sense, but it does give away the Sylas to Maple for the umpteenth time.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised by that. Usually Sylas blind, first pick. If Olaf is still up, not usually the best pick, because you're looking for Sylas Rek'Sai to make a kill lane, and if you run into an Olaf, that's bad times for you. Now, they're still respecting the possibility of Flawless going for the Olaf, so they're going to pick that for themselves. Olaf is one of the LPL defining picks. We're all about early game tempo and aggression. In the LCK, in the LCS, Olaf is considered somewhat of a pariah because of his very low win rate. But in the LPL, he's over 70%. Everyone's looking to skirmish and fight in the early game. He's still a great champion.
But now, as you pointed out, they go for the Olaf instead of the Sylas, and as a result, JD Gaming going to pick that one up off the back end of this. So now, Sylas and Renekton locked in. Both solo lanes have been here for JD Gaming.
This should be a simple Nico pick. I think Nico is one of those champions that does well. Oh, sorry. Nico's actually banned away here. I was thinking about the only other champion that Maple has picked so far in the split. So congratulations, today you will witness Maple pick something else.
Yay!
Out of necessity.
He's been forced into it. We finally convinced him. But could be this Nautilus if it is locked in. Would give the opportunity of a flex pick, but instead, let's focus on what's already been locked, and that is the Sivir for SMLZ.
So Sivir is one of those champions that I think is just defining in the meta, and it does so well when you pair it with the Olaf. Allows you to chase down kills when you're going for the jungle. The Nautilus as well. I like what Suning are presenting. It's an early game, all-in type of compositions, and they also have a lot of chances to ban out the, to counterpick the solo lanes coming in from JD Gaming. So it's going to be up to JD Gaming to then use these 2 bans correctly to take away the threats that their champions are going to face. One is the Kennen. The other one I would like to see taken away is actually the Ryze. I feel like Ryze has such a good matchup into the Renekton that you don't really want it running around, especially the ability to then use the Realm Warp around with Sivir's on the hunt. It just so much map pressure with that champion. So I think they're going to take that away as well.
Suning, however, have a different plan in mind. They're focusing their bans down onto the bottom side of the map, taking away the Xayah from him.
Yeah, I like the Xayah ban. Xayah has been the traditional counter answer to the Nautilus. You have the ultimate to dodge away from the death charge.
Takes away the Xayah Rakan combo as well, for sure. Now, JD Gaming deciding on their second ban. It will be the Taliyah, which, to be fair, specifically against Maple makes sense because he is the one who has picked it the most often here in the LPL.
Yes, Talia is a rising star in terms of the mid lane meta. You don't see it usually picked, but I think there would be more of it now that Aurelia has been going down a little bit, Akali has been going down a little bit. So, interesting pick here and a very specific pick. Nobody has data on what Mabel actually plays right now, so I think it makes sense. However, I'm a little bit surprised to see the champion. Usually, Talia doesn't have the best matchup against Sylas. Sylas has great wave clear with his passive, and it's quite gankable as well. So I'm actually surprised to see that there. They're leaving the Rise open, and I think Suning can make a play for it.
I think, given what we've seen from Maple specifically last split, he was the first one to bring on the Talia, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
So, at the very least, we can be like, okay. They don't have an idea what his champion pool is either, but they're taking an educated guess from last split. But JD Gaming going to take away the Tahm Kench from SwordArt. Like we said, SwordArt, one of the most prolific Tahm Kench players in the LPL so far this split. They want to deny that from him, give it over to Lumal.
Yep, and
the Rise.
That's the Rise I was talking about. Great counter against the Renekton, good against Sylas as well. Like, Sylas stealing your ultimate doesn't really help him that much. So I'm kind of surprised by the Talia ban instead of the Rise ban. I felt like that was the more go-to one. But now, Suning have a very standard composition. It's insane how much chase this comp has. Hard engage, everything they need, global ultimates. I love what Suning have. If they can start running around the map, the composition is so easy to execute. You just run at people. As long as they're dealing with the side wave, if they're split up, it's very easy to just chase targets down. For JD Gaming, on the other hand, they do have a great matchup with the Varus into the Sivir. This is one of those old counter picks. You do outrange her, and you should be able to win the lane as well. But as for the other sides, I don't really see them having that much of an advantage. GP versus Renekton, it's very much decided by jungle pressure, and I think Olaf actually has a lead in that one. Also, Sylas, Sejuani, Rise, Olaf, I still give a slight edge over to Olaf. He might not do anything before the tier, but after that, you still have a very good kill chance. So, honestly, I like Suning's comp a lot more.
Suning has the capacity to just run it down through JD Gaming, just like their package delivery service. I don't know. Bit of a stretch on that one, but the composition from JD Gaming, hopefully we start to see a little bit of a comeback from them because they do have Lumal back, and his first game back, they almost won.
Yep.
So now they have the synergy back, they have their shot caller back, but with a better composition, Suning's chances are looking a little bit better.
Yeah, I think if you look at what JD Gaming have, they have very strong fighting potential, at least in their solo lane. So the Dumpling Brothers are going to be massive this game. I just love how surprised they were, those JD Gaming fans being shown on camera. Like, what did you expect? You're sitting in the front row. Yeah. So, but their comp overall, if they can get through the middle phases of the game, they can go for a 1-3-1 composition, but they're going to have to be very careful when they split up. When they split up, JD Gaming, Suning will run them down incredibly easily, and it's also quite treacherous for the Varus and the Tahm Kench if they go into the mid lane. You have to remember, Tahm Kench, while individually has been a better champion, Abyssal Void doesn't take you as far until level 11. So there's a lot of things you can't do if you're playing a 1-3-1 composition and you have Varus and Tahm Kench in the mid lane. They have to be very careful. You also cannot flash when you have devoured someone. If it goes to the 1-3-1, it's a lot more suspect.
JD Gaming potentially having a dicey game ahead of them in game number 1 of the e-commerce wars between JDG and Suning. Every time. You know, Clement, it's been a full split in 3 weeks, and I will never get tired of hearing LGD without fail for the third chant. Except for last series.
It really started in this spring, to be honest. Like, LGD were becoming such a funny team that everyone started doing their chants, and after it became a thing. Now, remember, in their first 11 series, they lost 10 of them. They look like the worst team in the LPL. And after those chants started going on, they then won 4 out of 5. So, you know, some magic, it works.
The meme had come alive there for LGD, but Biubiu, that is a trade that I don't think he really wants to take at level 1. Unfortunately, he will get the worst end of that. Has the grasp for the sustain available as well. Weiwei just going to start solo on the blue side. Both junglers, in fact, going to be on the blue buff first.
You gotta love that level 1 start from Zoom. He's not taking the Q like most Renekton's would for the wave clear. Instead, he's just trying to chunk Gangplank down for the potential level 3 kill. And the reason you see a lot of Renekton still stick to press the attack is you can get the full press the attack proc with just a single enraged W. That's how powerful Renekton is. Great for the type of trades that he does.
SwordArt already going in for the engage. Props the aftershock. That is a lot of damage on the Lumao. Good spell shield there from Smlz to keep himself safe from the return damage. So now Lumao chunked down to below half. Yagao, of course, will be our pro view for the day. You can check that out on Douyu.
I like that they took Silas away, but I think it's super questionable that they didn't ban Rise. I think Rise was by far and away the best answer that Suning had, and
Yeah, we're seeing the pain of that decision.
Suning were even, I felt like they were quite surprised, like, hey, we got Rise. Hey.
Guys, we did it.
So, quite understandable. You're going to see Suning with the wave clear here, and also a great level 2 exchange coming in from Nautilus. Nautilus, after that buff, is just so oppressive in lane. Interesting rune choice we're seeing from Tom Kent here. Just going for the Unsealed Spellbook. A lot of times we will see him swap over towards the Cleanse, just to keep himself and his AD carry safer.
If he steals a Baron this game, I'm going to scream. I know that's my job and everything, but I will just actually scream.
Look, even if you have the Unsealed Spellbook, most of the time you're supposed to be under-leveled, so that's not going to happen, okay?
When it comes to JDG, I don't think we can we can expect anything normal as they get traded on here again in the bottom lane. Lumao using the gray health to great effectiveness, but SwordArt still has not taken a single point of actual health damage.
Well,
I say as he gets hit by the tongue of Lumao.
Well, you win some, you lose some. Good
Cast your
starting
curse in
ward by
action.
Biubiu in the top lane, but can he survive this?
He knows it's coming at the very least now. Zoom going to be looking for the engage under the tower, but Biubiu is just positioning very carefully, very respectfully.
I wouldn't call that respectful.
I just said respectfully, and he just goes over and parlays the man in the face.
That was a good ward. He wasted so much time. That's actually the second time that Flawless is calling his back right there. So unfortunately for him, he's already somewhat behind, and we'd be losing out on a lot of time. Ooh, this doesn't spot Weiwei's gank here. Zoom has to be very careful.
Bottom lane looking for the engage again. It lands on the Lumao for a third time, but Imp this time's in a whole lot of danger. The Ignite's gone down, as does the Devour, but meanwhile, top lane, First Blood's gone down. Boomerang toss, not going to be able to find it with the blade.
And this has been the life of Zoom for a while now. I'd say the entire summer split of 2019. He just has not had very good synergy with his jungler. The wave being pushed out in that direction, he was pretty much dead. Holds on to the flash at the very least, though.
Oh no, this is a problem here. Flawless coming in for the gank. It's going to be spotted out here now, but SwordArt needs to save his
good
AD
heal.
carry. A beautiful, beautiful stun there. SwordArt still alive for the time being. Gets devoured here on the back of the fight. He is certainly dead at this point, but Smlz will make it out alive.
Yep, all summoners burned right here from, actually no. Hold on to his flash from Smlz. That was a really good heal to dodge out on the first tick of damage to keep himself alive. Support, not that fortunate.
No, but it will be the CS lead regardless there for SMLZ. The assist goal is going to even that up for Imp. Let's take a look at the First Blood in the top lane.
Yep, he has his wave pushing up here. I think Biubiu does land a slow. Yep, you see the slow. Axe goes down. Yeah, Zoom's not even going to flash that. He knows he's dead.
I love how we didn't even see that fight and you knew exactly what had to happen to make that gank go.
Well, if he died without a flash, the margins must have been quite large. So, yep. Unfortunate for Zoom right there. That's something that we just have been missing from JD Gaming. Zoom has not been able to get a good snowball in these games whatsoever.
Maple getting ganked here by Lumao, but SwordArt's here as well in the mid lane. This is a 3 versus 2, but Arsooning going to find it. The hook, beautiful from SwordArt, forces out the Devour from Lumao.
That was a good bait. I like how Suning then walked back and then walked in, but Lumao stayed in position the entire time. They didn't go in there, knowing full well that the Devour was still up.
Now SwordArt after his roam being pretty successful, this is one of the advantages of having the Sivir instead of something with less wave clear. Smlz just gets to play safe, and SwordArt can roam again.
Yeah, and I think this is going to continue until you see the Blade of the Ruin King being selected here.
Oh, Cannon Barrage coming down from the top lane. Lumao in a whole lot of trouble. Has the Grey Health still available, but there's a beautiful dredge line there from SwordArt. The slows the damage. Weiwei is going to pick up the kill. His first of the game, and now Yagao looking for it. Uses the depth charge of his own. Not going to be able to find anything with it, though.
Yeah, so he actually used the depth charge, but Weiwei instantly popped his own Ragnarok to cancel out on the depth charge. That was a really good play from Weiwei, and you could see them splitting up as well, so the ultimate wouldn't hit SwordArt either. That was smart thinking.
Beautiful play so far from Suning. Good answer here from Flawless to be able to steal away the blue buff, but I don't feel like it's enough at this point.
They pretty much need to get a dive right now. Biubiu doesn't have his ultimate. Sejuani does have the Glacial Prison. So here we go.
Still flash available for Biubiu. He can outplay this if he tries, but Zoom pops the Dominus. They're diving under the tower. There's the stun. There's a follow-up stun. There's no way he gets out of that one. There's just too much damage for him to answer. Zoom and Flawless will get a little bit of turret plating here in the top side.
Absolutely necessary to make that play happen. They're not getting anything in the bottom, so it had to be done, but we are going to see the Infernal go over to Suning.
At the very least, Clement, this time Zoom is not at a 50 CS deficit. He's up 20. So sitting very happy in the top lane compared to how we've seen him stuck in previous games.
Yes, and you can see, I would say the biggest problem on Suning is Biubiu has been pretty much a punching bag most of these games. He's been the one on top, absorbing pressure. Suning are playing usually completely towards the bottom side of the map. And here's a big question. Can this type of style actually survive when you're going up against top laners like Gimp, like Zoom, like the Shy? Is this actually a feasible way to get into playoffs? Because if you look at the trend for playoff teams in the LPL, it has been favoring teams that play through all three lanes, and I cannot say Suning is one of them.
No, definitely not going to be able to play through Biubiu all that well. But mid lane, Flawless looking for a gank potentially. Maple has to be careful, has the realm warp available, plus his flash. Flashes away to safety.
Yep, no ult there from Flawless, but Maple flashes regardless. The amount of damage from Yagao definitely warrants that.
Mid lane pretty even in CS, but it's the top and bottom lane where we have to be looking, of course. 20 CS lead for Zoom in the top lane. Bottom lane, Smlz doing pretty well for himself, despite not having a support for much of the game. Still up 10 CS. Weiwei will be able to get a little bit of safety here for his top laner with that Scuttle Crab pickup as well. So at the very least, Biubiu is not as scared of dives. However, given Flawless and Zoom's play so far, I'd still be pretty frightened. They both still have flash up, or rather Flawless doesn't, but Zoom does.
Pretty quiet moment for both teams here. I expect both teams to just keep on shoving the waves and fighting it out until the next Infernal. Suning should still have the advantage there with how well their bot lane has been going. They've been consistently pushing that one down. So I expect a play to be made on JD Gaming's bot side, and then just Suning just transition into a double Infernal if they get the chance to. The only thing they need to be worried about is that big, scary Renekton in that top side.
They're going to have to shove into the bottom side of the map. Of course, Zoom's teleport is on cooldown now, but it will be off cooldown by the time that dragon spawns up. And it looks like Suning instead, for the time being, are going to prioritize towards the Rift Herald as they rotate their bottom lane up here.
All right, that's a very early swap for them. I thought they would stay a little bit longer just because of the double Infernal.
Weiwei in trouble, has to pop the Ragnarok. Maple coming in to respond to the kill. Ultimate not going to do enough damage. The flash in from Lumao. Tongue slap. The slurp damage going to be enough to take him down. JDG 3 versus 1 between the towers. Looks like it'll be just fine here for Suning.
Yeah, good strong play from JD Gaming, recognizing that they now have the strong side on the bottom of the map, and that's going to cause Biubiu a lot of pain. He's going up against a 1v3, already left his tower, but look how far he is behind. He's going to be behind 40 CS after this.
He is currently being like, Zoom, look, I can do it too. You're a good top laner. You were behind 50 CS on Gangplank. I'll try and do the same thing, but unfortunately for him, I don't think it's going to work out very well for them this game, because if JDG are able to get this tower down, they will have so much more pressure onto the Infernal, and then Suning might not be able to get that double Infernal they're looking for.
Yep, if you look at it, Biubiu has already used his Cannon Barrage. I like the timing on that. Uses it before he goes just to have it up during the next Infernal fight. But this is a straight-up loss for Suning in terms of tempo. They're losing a lot more on the outside tower. They're going to get the Herald, maybe? I don't think it's actually worth it for stunting Biubiu's growth by this much, though.
Well, the Herald was the reason they rotated themselves up and towards the top lane, and they will get it. The question is how much they can do with it versus, like you said, Biubiu is super far behind, almost 40 or over 40 CS at this point, down to Zoom. But now Biubiu will be able to pick up the Herald, and it looks like a roam coming in from Maple as well. The dive into the top lane, depth charge already been blown. Zoom has to Dominus out, and Teleport comes in as well to defend him. This one's going to be from Luma. And in the bottom lane, JDG are going to be able to pick up the first turret of the game.
And this roam has been proven to be quite disastrous for Suning. I have to say, I really like the play that JD Gaming went for. As soon as they saw it go down, instantly you just dive for the bot.
Oh my god, that is so painful. Biubiu again getting killed. Now 1, 2, and 1. Just every time he is left alone in his lane, which is quite often, JDG hard focus on to killing him.
Yeah, and you can see how Biubiu was, he knew he made the mistake. Didn't even flash. Just sat there and took it. So if you're looking at the gold leads right now, JD Gaming now find themselves in a very strong position. 50 CS over Zoom. That next Infernal fight stops looking so good now. I think JD Gaming actually have full control of that side. They have the earlier vision being put down. It's coming up in 5 seconds, and Suning now have to find themselves rushing towards this play on this map.
I don't think they're going to have the opportunity. The teleport is still available for Biubiu, but if you look at the rest of the map, Smlz only barely getting into lane. Maple, SwordArt, and Biubiu still looking to contest this one. Flawless, maybe finding a pick on the side here. Both junglers are level 9, so the potential for a steal or a 50-50 smite is there.
Okay, the difference here is that they don't have Dominus on Zoom yet, so maybe that's the window that Suning are going to look for, or maybe not. They're just going to leave it away.
Yeah, they don't need to teleport in. They don't need to do a whole lot. Suning just going to give up on contesting the Infernal Drake. This will tie it up 1-1. But now Suning stuck a little bit behind after this play down in the bottom lane.
Okay, just checking this play from Biubiu. It reads a little bit just to stop Imp from his teleport, and pays quite heavily for it.
JDG able to bring back the lead into their favor pretty decently. A 1,000 gold lead already at the 13-minute mark, and they've tied up the Infernal Drake. So at this point, they have the capacity for the 1-3-1. That's what they're working towards. They want to be able to take down these fights. They want to have these little scraps. And Suning, they want to run at you, but when you're in a deficit, where do you find those opportunities?
Well, you're going to have to wait for them. That's my only answer. Right now, Biubiu is not fit to stand on the map. Look at his gold. Only 4,400. He's lower than Yagao. Actually, not by much, though. I thought he would be even further behind being zoned out of so many minion waves. I think Suning just have to wait until they have a good catch on the bottom lane, where they see where the enemy is, and hope to overwhelm enemies with Cannon Barrage. That's pretty much their only objectively winning play.
Hopefully, they'll be able to find it in just a few, but for the time being, Maple is going to now be the new target for the dive here on the top side of the map. JDG are looking for it. Maple has no idea. The Cannon Barrage comes down to try and defend him, but Maple gets stunned into the tower. It's just Luma and Flawless, but the base damages are enough here from the jungler of JD Gaming. 4-0-1 is this Sejuani. Absolutely massive here for Flawless.
Yeah, well played on that two-man dive. Just the two of them and their crowd control and how tanky they were able to get Maple down. And that 1-3-1 potential for JD Gaming is looking even more likely at this point. No one's going to be able to fight Renekton for a very long time.
Up 56 CS, almost. Hey, well, he's working on his Black Cleaver. Not quite almost there. But first item has come out from Maple, so at the very least his scaling has begun, but at a certain point, that scaling is not going to be worth it. You're going to have to deal with the 1-3-1. You're going to be behind your lane opponent. Yagao has his Porto Belt. He's already ready to fight if it comes to it.
Still, the biggest mistake for me is Suning just losing their jungler early on when they did the swap. Doing a swap like that, a lot of times, you have to be cognizant of where the strong side of the enemy team is, and you have to play more careful around that side. JD Gaming actually read the swap better than Suning themselves did. They lose the tower. The Herald doesn't actually pull them ahead tempo-wise. And they also lose Biubiu effectively twice. He's got zoned out of 3 waves and then dies again.
Yeah,
very rough situation.
He's still recovering from that one. He's down 54 CS at this point. So JD Gaming Going to be sweeping around the Dragon Pit, preparing some more vision, aggressively working into the jungle. And this is really nice for them because one of the concerns we had was when you're getting in the 1-3-1, you have the Varus and the Tahm Kench stuck in the mid lane. Don't want them getting dove, don't want them getting charged on. So just get a ton of vision around and look at how lit up the red side jungle is for Suning here. Their red buff is completely exposed, everything around it, they have perfect vision. And it looks like they might be just waiting for a pick. Oh no. Biubiu, don't do it.
Don't pick on Biubiu. He's had enough.
He's a good boy. He's doing his best. Okay, they might still be going for it. Flawless is spending an awful lot of time doing this though, whereas Weiwei is just moving around the map. He gets scanned here by Yagao.
I think Yagao is spotted. You can see Suning definitely have an inkling someone's here.
They know someone's there, but they don't know where. And at this point, it is mission impossible for Yagao. Oh, he's going to be fine. All right. A little less exciting than we were hoping for, Clement, but Suning are not going to be able to find Yagao, and that is great news for JD Gaming, who are currently up still 1.4k gold, but they're getting the shove in the mid lane, working on that 1-3-1 because Sejuani is just still camping around Zoom, trying for these dives onto Biubiu, and why not when it's been so successful for them?
With focus also comes neglect, just on the other side of the map. I think that sums up Biubiu's situation quite well. Now, to be fair, a lot of these were self-inflicted, so can't blame his teammates for those deaths.
Zoom just with a Q is chunking down and scaring out Biubiu, but now finally Suning have put some resources back into their top laner, who is now a very sad pirate stuck on the bottom side of the map, down 60 CS, and he has only just finished his Trinity Force, whereas Zoom has a lot of money in the pocket to burn. 188 CS, has the Black Cleaver, has the Tiamat, and JDG looking for a pick in the jungle. They already warded it up, so they know they can find this. CC lands, but it lands on a Weiwei. He's got the Ragnarok teleport coming in from JD Gaming as well. SwordArt goes gold, and JD Gaming might not have anything to fight with at this point.
Oh, no,
Cannon doesn't go over the wall.
That was tragic. I think the problem is it did go over the wall. If it stayed on that side of the wall, then you could have a triple chain. But unfortunately, he had it over the terrain, so couldn't get the slow.
That is so unfortunate coming in there for Biubiu. He is just not having a great game, but now JD Gaming are going to have a great game of their own. That's the Mountain Drake after the Infernal.
Yeah, and a lot of life coming out from JD Gaming. As long as they can keep that bottom side of the map lit up like this, I don't see how Biubiu is going to get a lot of farm.
He's going to have to find a way. He's going to have to find somewhere that he has the opportunity to farm, even a little bit. But when we're looking at the rest of the map, Smlz has already completed the Infinity Edge and the Essence Reaver, which normally you'd follow up with a Lethal Temple to get a little bit more attack speed, but he seems to have done the same with just the Fleet Footwork. But that's a lot of AD. That's a lot of poke you can put out with the Boomerang Blade, and those ricochets are going to hurt even more. Red buff being picked up there by Smlz.
Now this is a point where Suning can try to pressure their leads. You do see them have that item edge on the AD carry, but JD Gaming, they're playing very conservative. They're not letting anything go out of their way. I love what they're doing with Biubiu, just giving him those Krugs. Those are 10 units, so works great with Parlay.
He's doing his best.
You get 70 extra gold from clearing that camp.
He's trying to get in there, Clement. Respecting his attempts at this point. JDG now warding up the Baron. Have the potential for the 1-3-1, but even more, they have % max health damage onto Varus, so they can threaten with this Baron with their lead.
They get the slowdown, and they also see Zoom, so JD Gaming have to be quite careful here.
But Biubiu is still in the bottom lane, has the teleport available, but by the time he gets into the fight, it may be too late if one is engaged here.
All right, this is saving Private Biubiu. Try to keep JD Gaming here as long as possible and get those parlay stacks.
They're distracting him, but now, Clement, the question is, JDG are going up towards the band. They're just going to start it at this point. Imp feeling pretty significantly confident about this one. Lumos here on the side to try and ward them off the flanks.
I'm sorry, but I'm not confident for this one. This is a very early Drake with Smlz in an item lead. When is the Cannon Barrage coming in?
Cannon Barrage still isn't here. Teleport's not even here. Are they going to pour off the Baron at this point? JDG not putting any damage onto it. Flash away from the engage there, coming in from Flawless, and Biubiu got a tower in the bottom lane in the meantime. JDG may have macroed off a little bit more than they can chew.
I just don't like this play from JD Gaming whatsoever. Like, I understand that they're trying to turn and fight the game, but They're giving Biubiu just a free pass to get back in it.
So we'll pick up the tower, puts a few free waves in the bottom lane. Yes, he is still down in CS compared to the Renekton, but he is starting to pick up farm across the map, like you said. And now JD Gaming trying to rotate, trying to get something off this failed Baron play, but that is so much momentum they've lost that it allows Suning to pick up the mid lane tower. And now everything is back to even, Clement.
In fact, I imagine Suning might even have the gold lead at this point. It's very slight, but if you look at the minion waves, they're still pushing out to Suning. A very questionable play from JD Gaming. I felt like they could have kept the lane situation similar and do that same play later into the game. They were sitting on a position where Smlz was ahead in items, and also you have Biubiu with the possibility of Cannon Barrage. You have to remember that's AP damage, and Baron strips your MR as well. So if you get caught in that pit, if you're just there and there's a Ricochet going on, which has unlimited targets, that's very, very dicey. I don't like that JD Gaming play. I felt like it was far too much risk.
Dangerous position for JD Gaming, and it has allowed Suning to get back into the game at this point. So now Suning, they still have the capacity to run it down at the enemy, but they don't have the item spikes they want to be looking for here. Smlz has more damage still at the time being, but now that Imp has picked up the Ginsu's Rage Blade, he's able to fight as well.
A very interesting pickup from Maple. He's actually going for the Leon piece.
Oh no, here's the engage on the Maple. We might see him pay for that decision, but a good shield comes in from the Seraph's Embrace. Ragnarok Pak by Weiwei. He's going to have to get out of there with the help of his flash. So Suning just losing a lot of summoners, a lot of ultimates for free, basically.
Now, just to remind everyone, that was actually Yagao using the Cannon Barrage. So Cannon Barrage is still up for Suning. We're in roughly the same spot, but Zoom is going to find a great target.
Looking for the flank onto Maple. Maple flashes away to safety. Depth charge goes down, but so does the Baron. It's stolen away by the own team member who started it. Lumao is going to secure that one. Weiwei not able to find the steal. So now JD Gaming have the Baron buff. Finally, this Baron play worked out for them.
Yeah, much faster than I thought they would be taking the Baron. The flash from Weiwei does not find anything. But can they actually get out? SwordArt, should he be using the hook?
They have the damage for it. Teleport coming in as well. This might be a problem here for Suning now. SwordArt gets taken down. Flawless still alive, trying to poke down on the Biubiu. Imp is here as well, so all the members of JD Gaming have rotated up towards this Baron buff. Now they may be just looking to push it in. Ocean Drake has spawned on the field, but while the Baron buff is active, no reason to go for that one.
This is very reminiscent of JD Gaming's previous set, where they just kept on going for the Baron play again and again, and finally one time they got that crucial pick. A lot of times it looked like it's a bit questionable. They use extra ultimates or whatnot just to force people out of the Baron pit. But a lot of times all it takes is just that one misstep and you find yourselves in a dominating position. The first one didn't work. They actually handed 2,000 gold to Suning. Doesn't matter. Try again.
Yeah. Try again, and eventually you'll end up with a 3K gold lead and a tower lead. So now actually even up in towers. Ocean Drake still in the field, but I don't think Flawless wants to go for that just yet. I'm wrong. He's going to start that one up. Let's take a look at this fight around Baron once again.
Yep, so key things here, they are not scared away by Maple, and Zoom finds a great position. You can see Weiwei come in here. He does get the smite down, and it's a very narrow take for Lumao. I can't believe you were right. Lumao actually take Baron this game. But hey, sometimes if you embrace the 50-50, the 50-50 embraces you. I'm not sure those were the best plays. That's my problem with a lot of these JD Gaming Baron takes. They're very iffy.
Well, that's the thing, too, is we have to compare this JD Gaming to the JD Gaming we saw just a few months ago, right? Because that was the JD Gaming that was able to take down playoffs. That was the JD Gaming that made it to finals. And compared to that JD Gaming, I said that a lot, this JDG looks much weaker.
Yeah, their mid-game decision-making definitely looks failable for me, but I also have to add that in the games that they did this, they actually won. Actually won most of the times. There were a lot of 50-50 dragons, and they were playing on razor-thin margins where they had to get the Baron down within 2 seconds before the enemy came, but it did pull out ahead for them. And with an early Baron like this, you can see how dominating it is within their own composition. Now that should be a realm more coming in from Yagao. No one is teleported there.
They can't keep getting away with this, though, Clement, because this is not a strategy that's going to work against the most top teams, or at least it's That's what I'd think, but Suning are currently undefeated, and it seems to be working against them.
Yeah, I felt like JD Gaming actually out-macroed Suning in the mid phases of the game. That pick was so smart, and that's exactly why you need Numal back in the roster.
He's looking so incredibly good in this game. Starting off the series, JDG are coming into it strong. They've got a 6K gold lead at this point, but now they're just going for the 1-3-1. This is what we've been waiting for them to be able to do. Zoom still has the gold lead over Biubiu, who is going to be able to wave clear once Zoom backs off. But they have the 1-3-1 potential. They have the potential to force, but how do they make it into the base proper?
Well, I think at the moment, Zooming still has enough wave clear, but this is what exactly JD Gaming should do. They should look for those situations where they're in tight corridors and Zoom can get into the backline. I think the best way they can do it is just wait on that next Infernal Drake. They have the red side already completely lit up, or they should have anyway. And when they come in, you just send a big, scary alligator right next to Smlz. That's how you take the game.
Third item is complete now onto Imp. He has the Rapid Fire Cannon plus the Blade of the Ruin King and the Ginsu's Rage Blade. I'm not sure how I feel about Rapid Fire Cannon there on the Varus instead of something like the Runins, but he's just going for it. He's living his best life, Clement. We can't judge him for that.
Actually, I am fine with it. You're going up against Barrels and Rise, which are both champions at almost equal your range, so might as well keep yourself safer.
Now Imp can be farming out the mid lane. And they're just going to keep looking for these plays, keep shoving out the waves, put pressure onto Suning so that they have to find a way to respond, and maybe you can make them crack underneath it. Because in 2 minutes, it's going to be an Infernal Drake. In a minute 20, it's going to be the Baron once again. And if we've learned anything from JDG's macro strategy, Clement, it is that they will go for the Baron every time.
Exactly. Looking at that Baron, that's actually massive. 6,000 gold in that one single play. So very far ahead at this point. Like you were saying, the Baron, okay, it's going to come out in a minute. So Baron's going to come up before the Infernal Drake. And Suning aren't really in a position to contest. I feel like if JD Gaming have this down, or they do proper vision, Suning should not be able to win these team fights.
Biubiu is caught up, though. He's been able to pick up his third item at the very least. So now he has the capacity to fight because Zoom is stuck on his third item. He's still working on that for himself. So he hasn't backed. He hasn't gotten the gold for it. So Biubiu has the chance to fight at the very least. I feel like this is the best fighting position Suning has been in all game, but it's still not looking great.
Suning don't really have a front line. That's a problem. If it's front to back, then JD Gaming will straight up wipe the floor with them. What Suning have to do is either get some lucky poke or wait until JD Gaming is actually inside the pit. They cannot take a 5v5 in open terrain.
It's all about the timing at this point then, because once that Baron gets started, suddenly Suning can contest, but until it does, all they're able to do is make sure they don't get picked off, try and keep the pressure, keep them away from the Baron, find their way back into the game.
Very importantly, we see Yagao with the cannon barrage, so JD Gaming, they're setting themselves up for a turn.
Oh, but now Lumao's getting jumped onto. The gray health not going to be enough to tank him out, and suddenly Suning have gotten a pick, slowed down the roll of JD Gaming.
Now, there is a smart way to, to draw people out of the Baron pit. Respect that. I don't think Numao was running with Flash. You could see him just exchange out the Flash, so that was probably a situation where Suning recognizes the summoner change and just went straight in for it. They also still have the cannon barrage to zone.
Suning still going for the Baron, but they decide to rotate off of it. A little bit of split decision making here coming in from the side of Suning, but they will decide eventually just to rotate off entirely. The Infernal Drake still on the field. JD Gaming looks like they're rotating down towards that, try and pick it up. They've gotten the Scuttle Crab as well. So now JD Gaming will be able to pick up the second Infernal of the game for themselves, give themselves a little bit more AD, AP, a bit more damage. And they still have free reign at this point from it.
Yeah, and this Drake is incredibly important because it's a 35-minute on the dot Elder Drake spawning. So JD Game is going to get one or the other. They don't really even need to put themselves in a 5v5 where they have to contest, and that's a great situation for them.
If they do, though, I mean, look at Imp. He just finished the Guardian Angel, so if they wanted to fight with a little bit of an extra surprise, now would be the time. It looks like
Numao is in a dangerous position, though.
Mispositioning once again. Death Charge coming in, but this time the team is there to try and save him. Lumao's out of the fight, but Flawless able to pick up SwordArt. Now Suning are on the back foot. They have the on the hunt to get themselves out of the way, but now the Baron is a point of contention. Lumao is backing at this point, but he will be able to return to the fight with the teleport that he just picked up. Here it comes into the pit. Now Suning trying to find anything off the back of this play. Zoom is sitting in the bush. He's looking for a way to stop it. Zone him out. On the hunt, been popped by Yagao. The flash away from Maple. JD Gaming still trying to take down the Baron. 4,000 health remaining. Biubiu putting barrels into the pit. 3,000 health on the Baron. Suning still trying to zone him off. Still trying to chase away. Imp in the pit. No one is committing to the Baron. Suning looking to turn this one. JD Gaming still on the Baron. Where's it going to go? It was secured by JD Gaming, and now the fight is what's left for them. Biubiu has to zone out. Maple still trying to fight his best, but Imp full health, still has the Guardian Angel, still has the way to fight through this. Smlz so low, cannot contest. And now JD Gaming get the Baron, and very likely they're going to be running this one down towards a potential end.
Whew, my heart was pounding watching that game go down, because if Biubiu landed any of those barrels, JD Gaming had a very tough situation. They had no dominance. Wait a minute, Imp. Okay. I was like, Smlz, you really don't want to be there.
Yeah, that was a little bit risky.
That was extremely risky. Zoom going down, no dominance like I was talking about. JD Gaming still fight for the turn, and luckily for them, they do find the smite as well to go with it.
Yeah, has the depth charge. Here comes the Abyssal Voyage as well. They're looking for the pick. They may be able to find it. Maple's down. One more member of Suning unavailable for this next fight. The wave is going to be coming in a little bit, but it's not coming very quickly, so there's going to be a teleport into the top side of the map from Zoom and try and get a wave into the base. And look at this, Biubiu cannot fight Yagao. Yagao picks that one up, so now 2 members down for Suning for the next 50 seconds. But now the mid lane, this is where it's dangerous. Lumao spits out Imp. The GA has been popped, but at this point they're looking for Smlz. He has so much damage from the crits, and JDG may have just thrown this fight for themselves. They do take down Smlz. Imp still alive, which means JD Gaming get the ace and should be able to run this one through to the Nexus.
The base is open. There's only 13 seconds on Maple left, but it will be a 1v3. Very tight scenario. I actually really like Suning's engage there. They saw that I had more numbers. They pushed their fight, but unfortunately a little bit too far ahead for JD Gaming.
And now JD Gaming will take game number 1 of the e-commerce wars and set themselves up for match point. JD Gaming, they're not happy with it. They want to get one more revenge kill, but Suning down 0-1.
And we do see a disconnect as well.
Don't blame them.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Biubiu. So this game showcases the difference between JD Gaming and the rest of the standard macro player from the rest of the world. 50-50 Barons, you know what, we'll take it. As long as we have a small vision lead, they're not afraid of forcing these plays. They're risky, sure, but when they pay off huge. You get a 20-minute Baron, it instantly ballooned to a 6K advantage, and then they took over the entire game. Again and again, they ran the same, just drag it to Baron, and I feel like this is actually a good way for JD Gaming to bring themselves out of the pit. I think a big problem with their previous series was that they never got themselves going. They never found those fights that really got the blood pumping. And this time around, though, I still have a lot of questions about it. I don't think it's the most secure play by any means. If those Barons were taken by the other team, then the script would completely flip itself. But it works for JD Gaming.
And this is, I mean, this is a game win for them that they desperately needed, because I feel like it reminds me of Jackie Love's interview last night after the games. He said, you know, now that we've won, I think we're going to start coming back. I think we're going to have a little bit more of a positive attitude. I think we're going to be able to bring ourselves back into it. This is what JD Gaming need as well. I feel like it doesn't matter as much how you get that positive momentum rolling as well, because then you can clean up your issues. But right now, their problem is they're just not winning at all.
Yeah, that's true. This is the second win JD Gaming has gotten this entire split, and we're on the last day of week 3. So a huge momentum booster for them. I hope that I'm not even sure, I hope they can continue this type of playstyle. Like, it's super dicey. Honestly, if you saw the way that the first Baron went down, Wei was able to get inside the pit with Ragnarok. He just didn't get the smite. The support did. So it worked. That's what I think about this game. But I think where JD Gaming really won it was how they dealt with the swap. The swap was the most important part here. They killed Biubiu, they zoned him out of a wave. They also got a pick onto Wei, and that was 50 CS lead transferred over towards the Renekton. He was in the lead the entire time. Ryze never got a chance to really do any split pushing. Really interesting build boundaries, but didn't get to see any of that come to fruition. And Suning started from being up like 2,000 gold to completely losing that edge. So they need to work with their swap. And the biggest point for me is that JD Gaming, I think they found someone to just punch over and over again. That's the biggest issue for me for Suning, is can they actually survive against the top brass of the top laners in the LPL. Can Biubiu actually pull out this style where he's not getting any resources, he's being left alone? Can he actually make it through these games?
And I think for me the most impressive thing there was that JDG seemed to have just figured out simplicity in shot calling. It was kill Biubiu. Okay, it's post 20 minutes, kill Baron. And that seemed to have been enough for him. Just focus on the Bees, and they might be able to win game number 2. We'll be back in just a few minutes to figure out who's going to win the e-commerce wars.